The ranking member of the full committee, the gentleman from New Jersey, 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Chairman Latta. As I mentioned in my opening statement, I am concerned about a number of actions the Trump administration has taken at PHMSA in its first 6 months. And one of those was clawing back a leak detection rule finalized in the last days of the Biden administration. And I want to be clear, the rule was finalized and done, but the Trump administration instructed the Federal Register not to publish the rule and has since clawed it back. So I just want to point out that some of our newer members that this rule was required by a bipartisan law that President Trump himself signed. That law required that PHMSA put forward a final rule within a year of enactment, and 4 years after the law was signed, President Trump prevented the rule from being finalized. So, Mr. Caram, could you talk about the importance of the leak detection rule? Did it have buy-in from industry and public stakeholders? Did the Trump administration's decision make us safer?
Yeah, thank you for the question. That rule was negotiated, discussed over 2 weeks of advisory committee meetings with multiple stakeholder groups, industry, public, and government. There were a lot of unanimous votes. Not all of the votes were unanimous, but many of them were. And I would say consensus was reached on the vast majority of the issues in leak detection and repair. That rule was due, as you said, a year after. That would have been in December of 2021, so it is years overdue now. So it was really disappointing to see it pulled back from being published.
And what about my question about did that decision by the Trump administration make us safer?
No. We continue to have incidents from known leaks. There are regulations on specifically what kind of equipment operators need to use, and the regulations around grading leaks as to how quickly they need to be repaired are vague, and that rule would have established those standards and I believe made pipelines safer.
Well, thank you. Now, I want to turn to a potential priority for a pipeline safety reauthorization bill. As you pointed out in your written testimony, PHMSA's safety rules are subject to a duplicative cost-benefit analysis over and beyond the one already required for all other federal rules. And this isn't a hypothetical problem. GPA Midstream, one of the witnesses represented here today, has used this at the D.C. Circuit Court to kill pipeline safety rules, and to me that's unacceptable. So, Mr. Caram, would you talk about how this duplicative requirement harms public safety and whether Congress should look at removing this requirement in a reauthorization bill?
As far as I'm aware, PHMSA is the only safety agency with this statutory cost-benefit requirement that is duplicative over the executive order. It's difficult to do cost-benefit on low-frequency, high-consequence failures like you see with pipelines, and it hamstrings PHMSA from making real progress on safety. As you mentioned, multiple rules over the last several years have been rolled back by the courts, saying that PHMSA didn't fully justify the costs with benefits, and the benefits in many of these cases are human lives.
Oh, thank you. I just want to mention to my Republican colleagues, because they keep talking about a bipartisan bill. But if we're really going to have a bipartisan bill on this issue, it has to be solely, and I stress solely, about increasing safety. The committee Republicans' pipeline safety bill failed last Congress because it was not drafted, in my opinion, in a collaborative manner and included partisan provisions related to pipeline siting as opposed to safety. So that's, it's not going to be bipartisan if it deals with siting and other issues other than safety. So I just hope we can see a more collaborative process this year, Mr. Chairman. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time.